Recording has begun.
I was gonna go to woods and die.
I guess I shouldn't bring that up now, but yeah. Have a nice walk in the woods there, Gandhi.
No, I'm not
Well,
going.
you can't now.
I left the queue.
Left the queue.
So are we recording?
Yes, we are recording currently.
Stahl needs to do his intro. You're muted. I can't hear you.
That's probably the point.
Ooh, 20.
It's always the money. Howdy, y'all. Welcome to Stahl's Fireside Chat. Back at you again with another State of the Union. You see, last time we left off, things were getting a little wild in here. You know, facing off against a sea god and something else. I don't know where I'm going with this, but
Okay.
Just a quick recap.
yeah.
Very quick.
Enough.
Good recap.
Yeah. So, yes, if I recall correctly, everybody except Drew. Yes, everybody except Drew sees the small shadowy owl on the light post on the hill ahead of you, which seems quite intent to watch you approach. A moment passes, it kind of shifts, flutters a little bit, before you hear it start to speak. In your mind, of course. Does not make any audible sounds. So you are still here. Why?
So, Amennakhti, not being familiar with talking owls, is going to be looking very, very alarmed around, trying to figure out where that voice is coming from.
Depending on how loud the voice is, Drew might be rather startled.
It's not like ear-deafening. It's not a whisper. It's a casual, he's talking to you from across the room, in an inside voice. Amennakhti, as he looks around, he hears a not very observant. Are you?
At this point, he's just going to settle that it's the owl. And he kind of looks directly up at the owl and speaks aloud to it. I'm not used to owls being able to talk. It's not observancy, it's unfamiliarity.
Fair. But one would think the dead know us.
The difference between me and the dead are staggering.
I remain unconvinced. You still cling to foolish concepts. But that is not important. Why you are here is important. Why? It is intriguing. be speaking to everyone at the same time. If
Yeah.
I did.
I figured.
Drew would start moseying that way, I guess, just to be in conversation distance.
I'm
That is
assuming, since I'm the only one alarmed, you have had dealings with talking owls before?
Yes, we dealt with them some time ago in another city. This one seems markedly less hostile than most. There were a few that were also not openly hostile. Seems to be a rarity. But as for why we're still here, the city is in the midst of being destroyed. We would like to halt that if possible.
You would halt the fun. Why? Is this not enjoyable to watch?
No, it's not.
Not particularly.
There's too much death for fun.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Have not lived long enough to see the joy in it, I see.
This Amennakhti's gonna say.
Oh well.
Amennakhti actually should have started with this, actually. He's gonna collapse at this point. Grabbing his head.
Oh.
As the memories of his family fade into his memory. As in, he can actively recall his family back in Irm. After a moment of groaning, he's gonna kind of look up at the owl, still with a hand on his head, and he goes, I have lived more lifetimes than you will ever know.
Are you sure? I have followed the Father and the First from many lands. I have seen cities like this crumble time and time again. But it is still so invigorating to watch it firsthand.
And you speak of the past while I may be able to speak of futures that you have yet to see.
Time is non-linear when you cross worlds, is it not?
Time is not linear for most of us. And at this point, Amennakhti's struggling to his feet.
I guess Stahl will just give him a hand.
Yet you dodged the question again. Gods fight and die here. Why do you remain? All the other humans scurry and run hopelessly. Why not you?
We are trying to fix the hopelessly part. If we can get the people safely out, then the gods may fight as they wish. Because who can stop them?
I don't really have much of a stake in this, but these guys wanted to come, so maybe there's something to be found here.
Well, one should realize that the gods will destroy themselves here, and likely this city. I should go, but I won't. It is too dangerous, but it is too joyful. Not even the first wants to stand here this night.
The first is your god?
God truly becomes overused here, isn't it? When everything is divine, what really counts as a god? But I forget. You don't see into the shadows. You do not see the encroaching forces that seek to clash this night.
Woo! We're streaming now.
Oh.
What?
We got it up?
It's fine. Just continue on from where we are.
But you seek to stop the gods. Which ones?
Yes.
Where do you throw your stake in?
And at this, Amennakhti is actually going to retrieve the scroll from his coat. He's going to kind of hold it in his hand and he goes, "My stake is with this."
You would put faith in parchment.
This is far more than a bit of parchment. And I suppose now is as good a time as any. Amennakhti's actually going to begin to read from this parchment, as he put it.
You gonna complete the reading?
Yes.
It'll take a minute or two, as it is quite long, but
Fair enough.
as for everyone else, Amennakhti unveils this scroll, essentially, and starts reading in a tongue you have never heard before. Does anyone do anything before he finishes?
Could the mage use...
Much.
Could the mage use, like, decipher language or something?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's one of those special languages,
Fair enough.
Yeah.
supernatural languages.
However, if he has mage sight on, things are gonna get wacky.
Let's see, what would that fall under?
Yes.
Prime really is, it's not supernal, so Prime's
Yeah,
not going to
Prime
help
not.
you. Forces?
Death?
Life,
Well,
Life will cost a mana to use,
space.
so space.
yeah, space, he will see space, definitely.
Space is spacing.
Yeah, space is, as he's reading, space is, kind of like, what's a good way to describe chaos folding in on each other, sort of tearing apart around him.
Crumbling?
Like it's folding and folding again, and
Yeah, it's folding in some parts, tearing in other parts, just evaporating in some parts.
The origami of reality.
No one does anything, however.
Kalmir braces himself. Because he doesn't know what magic this is.
Actually, let me see. Alright, I got this.
Would death also show anything? Or
Done.
probably not, because it's deathless.
He's licking me while I do this.
Got it.
Take 6 licking damage.
Excellent.
Man, that's a good roll. Why did I can't roll this?
That is an amazing roll.
That wasn't even with my modifier, like my bonuses.
Anyways.
Yes. So as you start to read, the Strix on the light pole kind of gives a scoff and seems to grow bored of the current conversation and flutters away into the night. But Amennakhti, as you finish the last word, you can feel the incantation take form, come to life. It's an invigorating feeling as the Sekhem comes flowing back to you. As Duat itself almost opens. And you hear a voice, a commanding voice. One you remember all too well of your judge. With the simple command of restore order. Does your judge have an avatar?
Not one that is listed.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Because it's not listed as the avatar thing. So,
would you like to make one?
If given... Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I was hoping I had just not found it, and I didn't ask because I'm stupid.
I had looked for it when you first mentioned this, so...
Yeah. But the incantation fails to produce an avatar. But your judge's voice is back, and all too present. As well as your own body appears to be more invigorated. Sekhem returns. You're back at Sekhem 5.
Yay, I got one.
Let's go.
Does that make you look dead again?
No.
No.
I'm
Okay.
still human looking.
You can use tier 3s now.
Yeah, I can use my tier 3s, though.
All right. So what has happened now that he's finished his reading?
Well, space has just, finished kind of dying around him, and instead now started to crack completely around, just sending off large cracks of, in the space, folds of space, in completely seemingly random directions, and as far as you can see outside of your own, even your own 5-mile mage site.
Wow.
It eventually starts to patch, but it's not complete.
So, Amennakhti, what did you just do? Kind of cracked space a little bit there. Look, I was worried there for a moment. It seems to be closing somewhat.
You remember the conversation we had out on the dunes before the ships came, where we were debating about whether or not we should help one side or the other. You made a very specific comment about how if you were to summon an entity of sorts, you would want that entity to do as it is told. And I'm referenced that you were the only one that made any sense there. I am such an entity, and I have just summoned my master, who has spoken to me. I am to restore order. The vagueness of that is not lost on me.
I was just about to ask you how you intended to do that.
And Amennakhti at this point kind of shrugs, but at least he knows what is wanted of him. Whether or not he knows how to go about it at this very moment is another matter. He will hopefully get further instruction as he continues on doing something to point him in the right direction.
Okay, well, I see a rather large absence of order in this city. Does your master wish us to save the city or save the people? Or neither or both?
Not decided yet. Amennakhti is going to kind of, for lack of a better term here, clam up though, as he turns his thoughts inwards on both the newfound memories, but also listening for any inkling of what his judge specifically wants or how order is to be restored.
Well, just in time for plot point 2. Kalmir, guess what? You're gonna be the one to tell about people about the plot point because you can see.
Yes, how unique. Never done this before.
This has never happened before. So, all at once, around, basically, behind you and in front of you, distances out, there are entities, creatures, that emerge. Simply almost out of thin air. Coming around corners, out of alleyways, out of brush. They are familiar. Most of them werewolves. Led by a very, very large wolf that you have seen before.
Oh, is he here now?
Yes. The large god of the hunt has emerged behind you in the city.
Ooh.
However, that's only about half of the creatures that emerge out of almost thin air at the same time.
Okay.
The other half are very similar, almost, however, reptilian. A number of them are quite confusing to you as they look human in shape, but are very clearly not human. They're distinctively scaled, reptilian, feathered.
They come from Hollow Earth.
Am I frozen?
Yes, you are.
Okay, I'm unfrozen. Yeah. And emerging behind them is an equally as large as the god of the hunt. Large, almost very similar in the same stature and form, but reptilian.
And they're not immediately killing each other, are they?
They did not emerge directly on top of each other.
Okay.
They emerged kind of in a similar block. Like, all the wolves showed up kind of in the same area. All of the reptiles showed up in the same area, but it wasn't an overlapping area.
Okay.
Shortly after, the most of these larger versions of creatures emerge. Behind the wolves appear a number of armed individuals, most of them human. Well, some of them human, most of them machine. Behind the reptiles emerge a relative army of mostly humanoid reptilian creatures. None of them armed with nothing fancier than spears, bows, etc. Most of them actually are unarmed. However, mage sight. They're mages. They are awakened.
The lizards?
Yes.
Oh! What?
All of them, or the unarmed ones?
Most of the unarmed ones, mostly.
Oh, okay.
They're not all. The second group that kind of comes out after, most of them are mages, but
I see. Okay.
statistically, most of them are not technically. You're looking at maybe like a 20-80 split.
But just the fact that there are mages among these obviously not human creatures is quite surprising. Now, how do I explain?
Yeah, how does Kalmir, the very now confused, probably looking Kalmir, look?
Yes, he's visibly confused, visibly worried.
Concern.
Yes, visible concern. So where to begin? Some more have arrived. Ones we've dealt with, you recall. Well, Amen, you would not recall, but Drues and was Stahl there? Perhaps.
Yes. Ironically, yes. I don't know if he was there for the session, but
okay.
Yes.
Drues, you recall the time in the City of Night when the wolf god descended.
Yes.
Yeah, he has descended again with an army of his brethren and robot people as well. There's more. a type of people I do not recognize. They look like lizards. About the same size. There are those among them with connections to the supernal. There are wise among these lizard people. He's just mumbling to himself now, like, how was that possible? And he turns to Amennakhti. It may get more chaotic shortly, followed by order, because the great predator that the wolves know as Father Wolf is, to my knowledge, a god of order. You know, spirits to their side, humans to their side.
We have allies.
That's what it sounds like you're saying to me as well.
Yes, I believe, whether or not a direct ally, I do believe he would be working toward the same or similar goal.
Kalmir.
Yes.
A great hunter, you say?
Yes, the great hunter.
Do you think the Great Hunter would like a chance to hunt death?
The Great Hunter will hunt anything that is not where it should be, which is this death you speak of.
Death itself is out in the sea, trying to kill the sea. Wolves are not creatures of the sea, but I imagine they might like the sea to stay where it is.
So, not to interrupt the conversation, but the air is broken.
The air is broken.
Okay.
What?
With the sound of two very, very deafening howls.
Two?
Yes, it's Father Wolf and his reptilian counterpart.
The reptile howls?
Yeah, that's more what I'm worried about now.
Shut up. Sumi, yes, the reptile howls.
The reptiles.
Oh my gosh.
As this dual howling, roaring thing, whatever you want to call it, the noise, that they are aware of each other very clearly as both groups are now moving rapidly towards each other.
Ooh.
Not to stress you, but you are in the middle of them.
Ooh. That might be a stressing point there. They are both coming this way from different directions with haste.
Well, then let us head towards this supposed ally.
You know, he will be here shortly.
If they are both hitting here, I would not like to be caught in the middle. I would like to be firmly on one side.
True.
Agreed.
Yes, that is true. I am just torn as to which side I belong on now. Perhaps they won't come to blows if we can stall them. No pun intended. Do they look angrily running?
Does the giant wolf god and giant raptor god look angrily running? Give me a wit's empathy.
Okay.
I just
We'll give
imagine
that a try.
Like the reptiles just like moving like a hopping lizard, you know?
Oh, look.
Just with, like
One success.
They are not peacefully running.
Okay.
However, it's not like they're actively chasing down prey, but it's not a casual stroll down to, like the shit-in spot, like.
Okay, well, I will concede that we do not want to be in the immediate area when they meet.
Not be clapped.
Yes.
Yes, let's
So-
move to one side.
Yeah. So we're moving to the side.
Like, trying to get out of the
When you say
intersection, or
one
moving
side,
closer
like
to one side.
Straight to wolf? Question mark.
That's where I was thinking, straight to wolf.
oh, I see. I was thinking, like if they're coming together, we're going that way.
Yeah, so you have like a line of them moving that way, and then a line of them moving that way, and you're like right here. So,
We're having Gandhi artwork time.
yeah, that's all you get though.
And it's gone.
So, moving with haste towards the encroaching tide of wolves.
Yes.
We have at least had dealings with him, so know what to expect ish.
Okay. So, it does not take very long. I mean, you haven't been running for too long, but they're running much faster. At least their vanguard is running much faster. Their vanguard being, well, Father Wolf and a core of, well, Garu. They do stop, actually, though.
Oh.
With a sniffing of the air. And almost out of curiosity, a familiar scent, I suppose.
Good to see you again.
The wolf god, unfortunately, does not speak English again. I hate that Kalmir is the only one here, but realistically, wolf god, no speak English.
Como estas?
I mean, he could.
Realistically, Drew doesn't either.
Yes, but
Amennakhti speaking like Egyptian or something.
You know what, screw it. He learned English in a couple days. He's a fast learner.
One of his werewolf buddies taught him.
Yeah. He ate a spirit of English and learned it. But he speaks up very. He doesn't have an inside voice, as you can likely assume. You again. What do you know of the encroaching tide? Quickly.
Which one?
The creatures which claim my mantle.
If Amennakhti speaks up here, he's going to be kind of like, I would assume he's referring to the lizards you've mentioned.
That would be my first guess. He'll come or speak to Father Wolf. Actually, I don't know much about them. They just appeared here right after you did. Although you may have noticed there are a few of the supernally inclined among them, which is a surprise to me. I do not know why or what they are here for. But they are not the only issue in this place. If you would deign to look around, there is much death that should not be here.
I am aware. But the hunt cannot begin with a rival predator on our back. They must be dealt with first.
And at that point, Amennakhti draws his sword and faces in the direction that Father Wolf was running towards.
If you'll give us a moment to ascertain their intentions before you lay waste to the city with what would be no doubt a glorious battle.
Glorious.
Kalmir knows how to talk to gods.
I mean, how else can you describe the ensuing conflict between two gods of the hunt? Besides glorious.
Yeah.
There's really no other word you could use there.
I mean, glory is a stat in the werewolf block.
Yeah, imagine these poor werewolves who now have to go explain to the loon why they need another point of glory. And yes, I realize the last one was hunting alongside Father Wolf, but please, this was a little more glorious. We're getting off track. But Kalmir, this other tide of reptilian creatures approaching has about a minute or two before they are here.
Okay. Has Father Wolf given any indication that he'll let us have a quick chat first before he starts wailing?
He has not started running again.
Okay, that's good enough.
He does appear to be waiting, whether it's because you have somehow convinced him to wait, or he's just waiting for the rest of his slower
brethren
pack to catch up. As you are noticing now, most of the people now trailing behind are the robots and normal humans who are desperately in a full sprint. However, the majority of them are combat ready and are not sprinting incredibly fast.
Okay. All right, so Kalmir is going to turn. Hopefully they got that under control. He's going to start heading toward the lizard. He'll be here soon. I want to make like a beacon or something with Prime. It's like, hey, slow down, stop. Wait.
Okay. What's the plan?
Well, to get their attention first, hopefully they'll slow down and let us...
Okay. So are you just casting a random spell off into the air?
Not random, no. It's like it's going to be
a natural prime spell.
Not listed technically.
What do you do?
I basically want to write a message in the air in high speech, saying "parlay," but big and noticeable.
Okay. Do I want to be mean and say he has to do size factor?
If you wish, I need to pull up Prime if that's the case.
You're fine.
Okay.
I was going to say, how difficult is it to make some lights in the sky?
Realistically, it doesn't really matter how big it is. The fact the other mages are going to see it probably instantly.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're going to have their mage site up and running, and that's visible to any mage site.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to assume you probably aren't going to fail the roll, but give me the roll anyways.
Okay.
Just for the hell of it,
Just to roll. So
Just to roll some dice,
Yeah. Let's get some dice. Watch me fail this 11 dice. Ha! 5 successes. I'm going to take it because that's going to regen a mana.
Okay. They're still running. Although, presumably they'll stop.
Presumably.
You can see a lot of the mages did notice this. And, there are people now looking around at each other. However, tip of the spear here is still running.
Still running. Does he not see? Okay. If I do my next idea, it might not go well. If I make a giant force field wall, slow him down, that may come off wrong though. That's
The loyal mages might take offense to that.
So, in the interest of not angering this creature further, I will not cast a force field in its face.
Okay.
And pray that it will slow down when it gets here. I'll add another prime spell. Please slow down. Sneeze. Sneeze,
Sorry,
let it happen.
Phlegm.
Oh, phlegm.
Yeah, I'm dying. I don't feel sick at all, apart from my nose and the back of my throat. But whatever. But yes, this wave of reptilians. Most of them you can't. The rest of the party can't see most of them. They're concealed by the fact that the city is still a city. However, you can see the now multiple, story tall, well, almost large raptor man making their way down the street. They do slowly.
Slowly, slow.
They stop a few hundred meters away. And almost
That line.
immediately, both Father Wolf and the other one are sizing each other up.
I would expect no less.
Yeah.
Trying to make each... doing the thing that you would expect Predator to do.
Predators do, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, as long as they're just... What's the word? Oh, I'm blanking on the word. Puffing themselves up, but there's a word for that. That I can't think of.
I'm sure you'll remember it at like 3 a.m.
Yeah. Oh, it's this word. Okay. Yeah, they're as long as they're just puffing themselves up and trying to intimidate the other, they're not coming to blows yet. Are any of the smaller lizard folk coming soon? Just curious.
A small detachment of them are making their way down the street, carefully managing to not be, battered aside by a large reptilian creature. Kind of, sneaking their way past on the sidewalk.
Okay. Okay.
Some of them are awakened. Some are not. You're looking at 2 awakened, about 4 non-awakened. Little vanguard of 6. Making their way towards the rest of you.
Okay, we will let them approach. Is there a contingent coming from the werewolf side as well? Like a parlay?
They're there?
Oh, okay.
They're behind you, though. Presumably, they are approaching. However, you can probably suspect the reptilian vanguard is approaching a little faster because, well, mages see another mage and like, hold on, wait a minute.
Hey, you there?
What are you doing?
So as they approach, I will say, greetings. I do not know what or why you are here for, but this city has seen too much decimation for the moment, so I pray that your god and this god will at least pause in their attempt to kill each other while we speak.
The one non-awakened starts to speak up. The standard, what do you mean by this god? This is nothing. And it's immediately cut off by one of the awakened, who is just like, please, shut up. Like, this is getting tiresome. They speak up, and surprisingly, though, you can understand them.
That was my next question.
Yes. Although it does not seem like they should be able to speak what appears to be, in everyone's ears, your native language. They are. As everyone appears to speak native languages. But I do not understand how you are you. And I don't think that's... However, that is not the concern right now. And ultimately, the city is also not the concern. We are tailing these hunters because they sense things going wrong here. Spirits breaking free, powerful spirits breaking free, and entities which should not be.
Much is true, yes. I have seen them.
And at this point, the werewolf parlay party, almost, if you could call it that, has kind of pushed their way up next to you. They haven't spoken yet. But the other mage speaks up and is, I pray for all of our lives here that what this creature you stand next to seeks the same.
Yes, he mentioned that he is aware of what is going on, but... And Amennakhti kind of makes a gesture to the two very large beings circling each other, just looking to take a snip out of each other. They are both seemingly preoccupied with each other. Hopefully we can remedy that and have some sort of agreement.
I don't know what you know about what they are, but I'm not sure agreement is exactly the best way to use that, to describe what the best outcome can be here.
Yes, two predators hunting the same prey does not end well for one or both of them. I'm aware of that much.
Well...
But at the same time, this city, you say, is no concern. But it is a concern to me and those here and those living here. And we have been struggling to keep the devastation to a minimum as best as possible with limited success. And we were just at our wits' end on how to deal with, well, what I assume you're both hunting.
I get you care for this city, and I would rather not see it destroyed too, but they are singular in their purpose. The city doesn't concern them. It may concern us, but...
Is there a way, perhaps, if not work together for the long run, perhaps just until you can drag your prey into the border marches, perhaps, into where they belong, and then hunt them as you seem fit?
I ultimately don't know. And that bothers me too. They kind of mutter amongst themselves for a bit, coming up with a couple, maybe you guys could just, stand by and, no, that's not gonna work. The werewolves are like, no,
they're not gonna stand by.
We're hunting today. You're the ones that need to go home.
Realistically, Kalmir shared all the information about the two things in the water currently, right?
Yes. Death god, spirit god, water spirit.
I mean, it seems pretty simple to me. There are two equally powerful foes. They are predators, competitors, if you will. Why don't we make it a friendly wager then? Whoever takes their target out first. The terms of, or the prize of that can be determined at a later date, because right now there's two immensely powerful, looks over at Kalmir, gods trying to wreck the city, and then there's another two powerful beings right here getting ready to wreck each other.
And which would you propose your... What is that, a rat? Rat god hunt?
It is... And Amennakhti actually finally takes a real solid look. A wolf, I think.
What in the...
As
What is
for...
a wolf?
What is a wolf?
As for which one takes what, well, I am probably the perfect judge of this because, well, I have no idea which what either of these things are. So my viewpoint on this will be completely unbiased.
Impartial mediator.
Yes. Now, both of them are in the water, so I would assume, looking at both of them, they are somewhat at a disadvantage in the water. So, Kalmir, how would you describe these two entities?
You mean in a physical sense or in a metaphysical sense?
Physical sense, just so I could give quick descriptions to these two.
Well, one of them takes the shape of a crab made of water. The other one, we never really got an actual description of
Snake.
the snake.
Snake
It was
whale?
I described it as a mosasaur, didn't I?
Did you? Oh, that's right.
And nobody knew what a mosasaur was.
Until you said the Jurassic Park. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll describe it as such.
So we have the water crab and the gigantic whale thing.
Whale crocodile.
Yeah.
The wolf takes whale crocodile, and the reptile takes the crab. Like, I know nothing about these individuals. I have no idea what their powers are or their individual strengths, so I'm being completely unbiased here. and Amennakhti honestly just throws up his hands like, you can't get more unbiased than what I'm giving you right now.
Relay it to your creature, please. I'll do my best to get someone to see if they'll listen right now. Kind of looks at Father Wolf and looks at the other one and realizes it's gonna be a bitch to get their attention right now.
Well, I'll turn to one of the wolves that accompanied us here. Do you think you can get his attention? Or would you like us to try?
Might not live if I try. Sure, boss.
I will assist as best I can.
Okay. So, Kalmir, you and this small posse of werewolves, and as well as any of the other party members if they so choose.
I think at this point Amennakhti realizes it's better for him to look as impartial as possible, so he's actually going to stay back right where we were originally. Can't look like I'm favoring any side at all.
Stahl sucks at mediation, so.
What does Drew do?
Drew's going to stay in the middle as well.
Okay, so it's just Kalmir.
Just Kalmir, talking to the wolves, running with wolves.
Kalmir.
Yes.
After a few desperate kind of wave downs and, howls, barks,
Some spells here and there. Prime spells. Hey, listen.
eventually, no. Eventually, Father Wolf does sort of break concentration on the other wolf hunt god for a moment to look down and hear your proposition.
So I'll explain, relay the idea. One gets one, the other gets the other. Whoever wins gets rights to hunt in this realm. Was that what's the prize? I don't know. No, the prize was to be determined.
Yeah, because Amennakhti doesn't know what the hell they really want, so he can't make a good prize.
Give me
Prize of-
manipulation persuasion.
Oh, this is
Not good.
terrible.
Time for willpower, baby.
I will willpower that. It wouldn't have been a chance die, but this is still
Not his best roll.
yeah.
Ooh.
One success.
After a few moments of what you can only assume to be deep thought, Father Wolf does give a bit of a snarl, a bit of a a snuff, kind of a scoff. I don't think snuff is a word.
It is, but it wouldn't work in this.
Yeah, I don't think that's the word I want, but a bit of a scoff. And simply mutters, "Fine."
All right, so I'll turn and see how the other side is taking their proposition.
They still appear to be in conversation.
Okay. Well, we've got one side affirmed, so just need Father Lizard.
Kalmir did so well on that, he should go over and do it again.
Well, at least I've met Father Wolf before.
After a few minutes of what appears to be deep argument on the other down the street, a couple 100 meters away, they do sort of break off, and yes, we'll call him Father Lizard, just for the sake of ease. It wasn't.
Sorry. You had a cool name for him.
No, not really. I was in my notes. I just had him as Father Raptor because it was like the
That works too.
reptilian version of wolf. But kind of also then looks up and sort of backs off. Is still very, ready to pounce to action, but appears to not be as threatening as before. You can only assume this means success.
I will have to assume. Okay. So now they just need to take care of the problem in their own way out of the city. So turning over to Father Wolf, I'm sure you can sense where the two of your prey are. I assume you have a plan for that. I wouldn't presume to give you one.
The hunt begins. And he completely ignores, and he says this like halfway through your sentence, and he begins to ignore the rest of it.
Yeah, I've figured as much.
Stands up, stands up straight, lets out a howl, and this entire wave of werewolves breaks off towards the coast. Followed very, very shortly by, the howl from the other side as they break off towards the coast.
Okay.
That went well. That went good. That went well, right? Right?
Well, we'll find out in a few moments.
Better than dying.
Yes, we live. This is a positive.
And it reduces the amount of destruction and chaos that's going to be in the streets.
Well, a couple buildings are kind of being crushed, but...
Imagine these things throwing each other around. More would be crushed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am okay with this outcome.
Okay, so now, while they are focused on each other, we can focus on mitigation, I assume. Get the people.
And the people, yes.
So, on that thought, I will pose a question to the group. We started about an hour late. Do we want to go for another hour, or do we want to call it here?
I mean, on the one hand, this is a fine stopping point, and you guys, you're tired, Gandhi, you're a little sick, so...
What do you mean? I'm gonna go play Tarkov after this. I gotta go to woods.
I gave him some necessary information.
So I saw Rook yawn pretty heavily there.
I'm so tired.
Okay, so
we'll have an hour here today.
Yeah.
We'll call it here, as it is the normal stopping point, as well as a good narrative stopping point.